Okay, bear with me. This is a little video diary. I'm going to touch on topics of capitalism, masturbation, sex toys, prostitution, why it should be legalized, taboos, and how I came. Okay, I'll start off with I'm going to be 44 in February. I've been celibate, no joke, for 11 years. I chose to be celibate because, I mean, I had a lot of fun, wild nights, but I'm a very monogamous person. And once I had my daughter, I realized, like, first of all, I felt like I fucked up because I got pregnant by somebody I I didn't even know. Let's just say that. So I've carried a lot of shame, and I would lie to me and make up stories about who her dad really was until it was age appropriate. I don't carry that shame anymore, but it's like I feel like not that she has strikes against her, but a father is honestly as important, or if not more important, in a daughter's life, because you choose or gravitate towards men who are like your father. It's science, it's environment, all that research. So if you have a shitty dad, you anyway, you can read up on it. So let's go back to me being celibate. So being celibate, I am still a person. I'm a sexual being. So, I have vibrators, toys, whatever. I'm pretty vanilla, like I said. And I'm going to tell you a crazy funny story because for some reason, like, I'm partial to rabbits because I always just like outside stimulation because I prefer like human to human penetration contact, right? But then, like in the last year, this is so funny. Okay, so first of all, ladies, I hate the realistic looking dicks because I think dicks are they're just, they look like little Mr. Little men. You just want to put hats on them or like fucking turn off the lights and I don't know. But I gravitate toward the rabbit. This big old, yeah, this is the rabbit. This is the shit, girl. Anyway, so here's a funny story. I was in a long-term relationship, love of my life, but he was a fucking idiot. And then me and this guy were best friends. He was from France, and he's a big guy, half black, half Cameroon. But we were best friends at first, and then one day to the next, we just was like, it was on. And I'll never forget, he had the biggest dick. And I took it, at first, I've never seen a dick that big. I took it as a challenge, right? I'm like, I can do this. And the first time we had sex, it felt like he was fucking me from across the room. And I guess I could take it because I was a little buzzed. I had some vodka. But it literally was like he was fucking me across the room. And I remember, I'm like, I'm taking this dick, right? And I reached behind and I could have like, it was like a baseball bat. Like 2 hands, I was grabbing it. It wasn't even, anyway. Me and him were such best friends. We could, like, we could have that romantic sex passionate part. And then we'd like hang out and he'd cook for me and we'd joke around. And we just had the best time. And it was him and his best friend Pascal and their whole crew in the south of France and Marseille. And it was really the best summer of my life. But I will never forget I was fucking with him because I'd be like, yeah, because in France, the men there, they're not ashamed of. I'll never forget when I asked them, being a stupid American, I was like, you ever have a menage a trois? And they all looked at each other like, oh, in high school. Like I was an idiot. And so they were all proud of their dicks. And they would show me like a sister. Me and Pascal were walking in the grocery store. He's like, look, Mandy, look at these two women and my huge dick. And he wasn't being a pervert. He was just like proud. He wanted to impress me, like, look at me. I'm like, Pascal, we're buying lunch meat right now. There's, we're in a, but I just learned a lot from them. So anywho, back to, his name was Bruno. Anywho, I would fuck with him and I'm like, I'm going to nickname your dick the Black Mamba. And it was like a running joke. And it was so funny. And he was so embarrassed. Anywho, like, let's talk about prostitution. How do I feel about prostitution? I feel like on a personal level, everybody does it in one way or another. Like I've seen how I've been as my younger self in relationships, right? And I've seen what my mother had to go through. Like she went through 3 husbands and she was always, when they were around, cooking and cleaning and doing anything and everything, because she was dependent on their money. And it was just never enough. So I felt like watching that and watching what she went through and then how, like, I degraded myself and disrespected myself, and I felt like no matter whether the relationship was good or getting really toxic, I would use sex, right? and I was immature, and that's all I knew because that was what was modeled, either violence or sex, you know? And there was always that dynamic in my parents' relationship, or in everybody's relationship that I saw, that there was always one person who wielded power, and men wielded it with money and violence, and women wielded it with sex, right? So anyhow, back to prostitution. I know in Las Vegas it's legal and it's regulated. I think of, let's say if I was like a Make-A-Wish person, or a person with disabilities, or a vet, you know, who got injured and doesn't feel like a man. I know in other countries they actually pay their like nurses, but they're sex workers who, it's like a rehabilitation type thing, you know, because I feel like whether you have Down syndrome or you're no legs, or, and I'm not being funny, or any kind of disability, like think about how hard, I mean, you know, I know because I've been single 11 years and I'm not picky. It's just, I have to be careful. You should be careful. It's so hard to meet people when you have everything or you look normal. Imagine how it would be if you're like different, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe I digress. I feel like the word prostitution gets a bad rap, but it, you know how one word can mean many things to me? It's like capitalism, or being the side chick, or even being like the wife, but the side chick's the main, you know what I mean? I feel like everything in the Americas, North America, is like, how would I put it? It's a trade, or it's a deal, or it's a, you know, even in relationships. And that's why, like, I have never had the desire to get married, because it's like, you know, I don't know. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but if you really do your research about prostitution, one, they always said it was the oldest, what is it, job? But think about it, you know, before we got bamboozled and tricked into thinking like paper, you know, actual money was monopoly money and it meant something. You traded food, or you traded work, or you traded agriculture. So in other cultures, if a woman, and I know in Native American cultures, Viking cultures, it was empowering, you know, she could be like, I want to marry you, or I'm going to give sex to you, or, you know, and you're going to hunt for me, and I'm going to do this for you. And then it got changed into this thing historically. You would think we were advancing, but it was way more advanced in like Cleopatra's era, Vikings era, Native American women, you know, even Mormon women and all that, and the Amish women, they're respected, you know, and everybody has their place. But we got flipped on the women's rights, where we got more locked up and more put down, you know, the things that we were good at and that gave us power, they made prisons, like beauty, or sexuality, or the rights to our body, or the right to only marry one husband, or the right to not be raped or beat up. Think about it. Think about it. Get raped today and try to go to a U.S. police station or police officer and see how they treat you. I know I'm kind of all over the place with it, but just do your research, you know? The more you know. Boop, boop.